Hi, I'm Wtlj Gonzalez, and this is my Writing to Learn journal, number 2, chapter 2, Literacy Processes. Reading and writing language processes. There are 3 main questions when thinking about reading and writing language processes. What is the role or purpose of prior knowledge in reading and the intention in writing? The role and purpose for prior knowledge in reading is called schema, which is to have relevant background knowledge or prior knowledge. When students make connections to what is read or what they are reading, their comprehension increases. The role of intentions for writing is that the author's intent is often central to learning and understanding the main idea of the context, and we can help students to understand and appreciate the writer's work. The second question is, what similarities are shared in reading and writing? Some similarities that are shared in reading and writing are the active formation of meaning, the interactiveness to read or write, and the activation of schemata. The third question is to explain their implications for content instruction. An example of reading and writing implications for content instruction is that the students must use their writing skills to produce pieces that are informative or explanatory. The development of students' understanding of this type text is also influenced by their reading, speaking, listening skills, and tasks. The TEK I have chosen for this chapter is a first grade social studies TEK Wtlj. Citizenship. The student understands characteristics of good citizenship as exemplified by historical figures and other individuals. The student is expected to identify characteristics of good citizenship, including truthfulness, justice, equality, respect for oneself and others, responsibility in daily life, and participation in government by educating oneself about the issues, respectfully holding public officials to their word, and voting. Reading and writing as a language process. There are several components of language: phonemes, morphemes, lexemes, syntax, and context. But the 2 primary components are lexicon and syntax. Lexicon is the vocabulary of a person, language, or branch of knowledge. Syntax is the arrangement of words and phrases to create well-formed sentences in a language. Using the first grade social studies TEK Wtlj for the lexicon, you could use a different vocabulary words such as the ones included in the TEK. For example, justice, government, and voting. For syntax, you can have the students form sentences using those same vocabulary words. You can have them talk to you about the new knowledge learned after teaching the meaning of each. Reading and writing as a language process continued. There are many different methods used to help students understand the concepts of reading and writing language processes, such as phonemes, alphabetic, and ideographic. Phonemes, which is a method to use letters to symbolize the smallest, most basic sounds of speech. Alphabetic, an approach where letters are interchangeable and that relatively few are needed to depict almost all words. Ideographic, which is a method in which a unique symbol is used to represent an entire word. We need to remember reading and writing are the most recent counterparts of older processes, including speaking and listening. Remember, communication involves the transmission of ideas and feelings in one individual to another. Reading and writing as a language process continued. There are 3 main purposes for reading and writing: to persuade, to inform, and to entertain. One way a teacher can implement the purposes is by asking the students what they think the purpose of learning the content is for. For example, you can ask your students, "Am I writing to persuade you to become a good citizen? Am I informing you to help you become a good citizen? Or am I entertaining you to become a good citizen?" The reading process. What is the reading process embedded in this TEK? The reading process embedded into the TEK chosen is to make sure students know the vocabulary words given. One way you can do this is giving each student a vocabulary word such as voting, and have them give you as much background knowledge as possible. Then teach them the new meaning, give examples, and have them give you a new and improved definition or understanding of the word. It is interactive. The visual structure of language in social studies is that it requires all 4 language skills: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Reading is needed when a student needs to read the textbook or access information. Writing is required for assessments for the students to show their knowledge of a particular topic, and speaking and listening are needed for classroom discussions and the teacher lectures. The reading process continued. Reading is a reconstruction in the mind and meaning encoded in print. Number 1, it is not the content teacher's role to teach the processes. However, it is the content teacher's role to facilitate students' attempts to use the process to learn through written materials. How do we do this? Well, we focus on 2 factors: prior knowledge and purpose for reading. So what prior knowledge is essential for the selected TEK chosen? Knowledge I as a teacher would think is essential to know before diving into the selected TEK are rules and what respect is or means. More specifically, treat others how you would want to be treated, because the TEK mainly covers citizenship, and to be a good citizen is to have respect for others. The second is purpose for reading. What is the goal or purpose? The goal I would think would be essential in this case is that the student should know what it fully means to be a good citizen of the United States. That we as citizens have a duty, and that is to respect all laws and to take responsibility for all things we do in our daily lives. The role of prior knowledge. Prior knowledge yields power over comprehension. Schema is all we know about a given concept. So what schema is necessary in this selected TEK? Well, the schema in the selected TEK chosen should be how to give and show respect to others and how to be truthful. These are aspects of becoming a good citizen. How can we build background knowledge using the TEK selected? We can build background knowledge by asking questions such as, what are some things you can do that will make you a good person to your environment, to your community, or neighborhood? Kids could answer that they could pick up trash around the neighborhood, help mow lawns for everybody around the neighborhood, or walk the neighbor's dogs, etc. You could even tell them that these are all things that lead to becoming a good citizen. Incorporating things closest to them, like their parents or watching the news, is a good way to help build background knowledge. Schemata can be formed, expanded, or altered. So how can we form or expand the schema needed for the selected TEK? Well, one way I thought of was you can form a mock voting trial day, where students vote for the next president of the United States within the class, or even vote for a class president to introduce a topic that way, and explain how voting in real life is part of being a good citizen. The role of purpose in reading. Purpose causes the appropriate schemata to learn. How can the literacy process be embedded in this TEK? You can embed the literacy process by having students communicate to you what they think is the most important thing about becoming a citizen. Or you can have them even pick one of the many things learned about the topic, and they can write, draw, or orally explain what they learned about the topic in terms of being a good citizen. The role of intention in writing is to write for others, write for yourself, and the fact that it is interactive. There are 2 kinds of writing, transactional and expressive. Transactional, in the sense of the TEK 12A, could be writing an essay on or what it means to be a good leader or citizen. Students can also write a summary or give single words on what citizenship means. They could even write a letter or to a historical figure given while teaching the lesson, such as your state governor, the U.S. president, or even the town or city mayor. Expressive is to write maybe a daily journal entry on citizenship. They could even write class notes over the overall lecture of citizenship. The role of purpose in reading continued. Before and after writing. How can you prepare students for the process with this selected TEK? Well, by preparing to write and revise. Preparing to write. You can have students write for other students about what they learned overall and explained with as much detail. Writing for other students will expand more knowledge into others and create a collaborative, more engaging setting. Revising. Having students revise and edit other students' work also allows them to explain wrongs and rights, or simply having students look over work to make sure it is to their liking. Or just flat out coming to the teacher to double check and see what is good to go. Finally, making sense out of content. How can you utilize reading and writing as a tool in your content? Personally, I think teachers can utilize reading and writing as a tool in the content for the Wtlj by possibly having students research unknown or newly learned words, writing about what it means to be a good citizen and explain in detail using vocabulary words, or making sure they fully know the content by reading and writing about it in different and fun, engaging ways to help utilize these factors.